Welcome to The Voice of Retail. I'm Michael LeBlanc, your host. The Voice of Retail is produced in conjunction with Retail Council of Canada and is presented by Hale, a performance marketing partner trusted by brands like ASICS, Sage, and Orange Theory to scale with focus and impact. On this special episode of Freewheeling Interview, live from the Seattle Food Innovation Trade Show in Montreal, featuring the one and only Jake Karls, co-founder and Rainmaker of the phenomenal brand Midday Squares, together with the return of retail technology guru Karls Boutet. We cover a building momentum for brands and retailers, the value of authenticity, and a sneak preview of Karl's upcoming book, The Flip. Gentlemen, welcome to the Voice of Retail podcast. Karl, Jake, the two of you in the same place at the same time. The universe is warping and is, it's fantastic to have you both here. How are you both? Karl, how are you? You're fresh off the plane from Vietnam, yeah?
Where am I right now?
Yeah. I don't know how you know where you are.
I'm like 75% coffee right now, so I'm holding up. But yeah, 24 hours ago I was in Singapore, 48 hours ago I was in Vietnam, and 72 hours ago I was in Cambodia. So gives you an idea of where I've been the last 3 days.
And Jake, it's hard to find somebody that travels more than you, but I think we've accomplished that somehow.
Like, I'm scared. That's what. How do you do it? How do you stay so fresh then? Energized.
I just told you, I'm 75% caffeine probably in my blood right now. So wait for the crash in about 22 minutes.
All right. So listen, you've both been on various different ones of my podcasts. So Karl, you're a veteran of the Voice of Retail. Jake, this is your first time on the Voice of Retail. So for my audience, anybody who walked in a retail store, congratulations, your business is just booming. Amazing. I think I want to talk to you about, you got a new flavor you just launched. You had some fun with that. Who is MDS? Who's Midday Squares? And who are you?
So my name is Jake Karls. Both of you guys know me. I'm 32. I started a business with my sister and brother-in-law in August 4th of 2018, and the idea was we wanted to build an afternoon snacking business in the better for you space, refrigeration actually. And we were three delusional people, and we blocked out all the negativity because everyone says the world doesn't need a chocolate bar.
Doesn't work that way. Jake, it doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way. But everyone, and people I love and care about said that, not in a bad way. But they wanted to dim the light a little bit. And we handmade these bars every day. And, fast forward 7.5 years later, we built a facility here in Montreal.
Incredible.
And we sell across North America. So it's...
And just to be clear to the listeners, you built a facility. Like, there's a lot of people, are doing co-packing to this day, even at your scale. But you built your own with a lot of pain.
Too much pain. 36 nights I cried myself to sleep, and look, it makes now 150,000+ bars per day, and hopefully make more. Yeah, we're getting better and better, and the only reason is because we've hired amazing folks that have been in manufacturing that have helped us. My partners and I are becoming more and more irrelevant in the business, which is a good thing, by the way. Which is a good thing. Now,
your role, and Karl, you would appreciate that. Your role is in the business is. It's a minimize it to say it's sales, but it's really, you've got, what have you got?
I call it a Rainmaker. Hype man, Rainmaker.
I just see you dancing in the aisles with some dude doing some sort of breakdance.
Stewart, he's a legend.
That's pretty much what I think you do day to day.
You know what it is? Everyone thinks I do a lot of different things because I'm out there all the time. I'm traveling like Karl a lot.
You were on a board meeting when I ran into you, so
on a board,
it's not all fun
I was
and games,
judging
right?
with Karl. It was crazy. I was doing multitasking, but I think that the idea is I call it overall a Rainmaker, and the reason being is because I make noise for the business and make friends. So what happens is if I need a retail relationship, I'll go travel to wherever that retailer is to hang out, meet them, build a relationship. That way my sales team can then go execute on already the trust built. Whether it's an investor, media, whether it's a keynote, I'm always going to make as much noise as possible. But the beauty is my partners are co-CEOs, so they do all the operations. So I don't touch any ops in the business, and it's best that way because I'm a horrible operator.
Well, Karl, I can confirm because on the panel...
What, that he's a horrible operator?
I am, but I'm a good Rainmaker. I'm a bloody good Rainmaker.
On the panel that the judges panel we were just on together for the startup competition, it was one of his distributors, and he had no clue. So literally.
But he's a legend.
Who are you again?
He's like, I'm the one that's doing like your 3PL. I was like, oh, amazing.
Well, Karl, I want to ask you, you've seen a lot, you've been around, you talked to many, many, many people on both sides of the table, both retailers and brands. Have you ever seen the approach that MDS has taken with that kind of build-up? I mean, the magic, the secret sauce was, I'm going to raise the profile of this small, new startup so much that you're going to list us. I've never seen anything quite like it. Have you seen anything quite like it? Is there a model there? Is there learnings there for other brands?
Well, I mean, we've come from the era, and I don't want to minimize all. I mean, there was a whole influencer sort of, genre out there of the Kardashians and all the others that have sort of led with their image and their reach, and then have tagged along product with it. Now, Jake, actually, what's interesting about Midday Squares is both elevated at the same time. It wasn't Jake that was like a personality because he was naked in Big Brother at some point, and then decided to sell, let's sell some squares because off of my reputation. So, no, it is unique. I mean, the idea of leveraging media and the way he's doing it is not new, but combining the product at the point of entry along with the rise of his notoriety is I think that's. I mean, I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Well, I think it's interesting. I want to add to that because we started, look, product is important. Product market fit is critical. You know that from retail. You know that from your world. I think once we understood that we had that, I said to my partners, I said, guys, we need to make noise because the world of consumer is about noise. If someone doesn't know you, if they can't find you, you're screwed. So I said, how do we make noise for the most inexpensive cost at the time? And that was get on content, get on social media, and share things. And what I mean by share is just create emotional connections with not 10 people, but thousands, if not millions of people.
But it's not just sharing. I mean, it's standing out. Yeah. I mean, I was laughing about doing the breakdancing in the aisles with Stuart, but I mean right now, I've been focused on algorithms and AI, as you know, for many years.
You got a book coming out. I want to hear about that book.
And Jake doesn't know he's pushing my book indirectly because what I'm talking about is the fact that we got to take back agency and stand out because the algorithms are pushing everybody in this sea of sameness.
Conformity.
So the idea of how do you actually show up, how do people remember who you are? The algorithms are going to help you amplify whatever that is. And Jake's
rightly or wrongly. I mean, the thing that interests me again about MDS, and I think I want you to talk about the recent launch of a new product because it's really the demonstration.
PB&J, boys.
I mean, it's look at you. It's the demonstration of the process. So there's brands that catch lightning in a bottle. They get one good, the cranberry juice gets one good video and it goes wild. But it's a different thing to kind of replicate the process. I think you guys think about it differently. It's not like it's more iterative and it's more ongoing, and it's a toolkit that we can get into to both launch new products and sustain. It's not just making a fun video in a shopping aisle. No. Anybody can do that. But continuing to grow the business, not anybody. I mean, you're a unique individual. I can't
get Carl's shirt off and start dancing the grocery aisles.
But I see sales plummet.
Yeah. So talk about how you took that process and then applied it to a very conventional thing, which is a brand extension, brand launch.
Yeah, I think it all started with the idea is like the first hire. One of our first hires was a videographer and an editor, not a food scientist or someone that typical food companies would hire. So what that did was it captured all the content that we were building this business, which again showed people like, oh, hey, we're not just a chocolate bar. Who are these three crazy people? What are they doing? Why is it so wild behind the scenes of a business? So that when they went to a large-scale grocery store and there was 30,000+ items, our product stood out because they knew us, or they knew us in quotations. They felt like we were friends. That worked not just with retailers, but investors and media, and got us opportunities. 2 years ago, we experienced our largest crisis ever in our organization, which almost plummeted the whole business, which cocoa went up to a 100-year high. And when your products are majority cocoa, so we had 5 SKUs at the time, all of them were functional chocolate bars with the major input being cocoa, it jumped to a 4 times in price, which was nothing you could do other than raise prices if you wanted to. We were already at a premium price, so we said we can't raise prices anymore. So our team decided, well, why don't we just get out of chocolate generally? Why don't we do a completely new innovation that still aligns with midday snacking, afternoon snacking in Better For You? And that's when we came up with this no bread PBJ. And the beauty about PBJ is it's nostalgic, right? And the idea is, people grew up on them. They had them before school. They had them at school if they were allergen friendly. But the truth is we used the nostalgia and then innovated by not using any bread or any things that hold it together because we had a manufacturing plant that was able to control its innovation. And then after that, we used our social media skills to blow it up viral. And what happened was people were like, wait, no bread peanut butter jelly. What is that? PBJ, Midday Squares, boom. Then every retailer started to jump on it and says, this is innovation, we'll give you the space, let's ride. And that created a sense of virality. And then we just kept parlaying it. Now we're launching an entire platform that's dedicated to no bread peanut butter jelly products, and it's our number one selling SKU at the moment.
Come on.
It's sold
Already.
out, isn't it? I'm
the
hearing
strawberry was selling out everywhere. The grape just came out last week.
You can't get it.
Exactly. But the idea was we utilized innovation. A crisis led to innovation, which then we used our skills of superpowers of storytelling online, building out loud. And what that did was it got people excited, FOMO. That built a feeling like you talked about. You said bringing back the agency, not conforming. Conformity would have just been do the traditional trade promos, hire somebody to pump it out.
Make the bar slightly smaller.
Change the color of the
price
packaging.
Point. Cut a few corners here. Yeah.
We said if we're going to do this, let's bet the line on it. And what we did was we bet the line. And at the end of the day, it worked to our favor, but it could have went the other way. And
so the only thing missing from this launch is a cease and desist letter from the peanut butter and jam industry.
Hopefully we don't get that.
Or you turn that to your... And for the listeners, Carl, you tell the story because I'm sure you know it. I mean, the listeners... it's how actually I came to know you. I saw the viral video and the response video, and that's how you first hit my radar screen.
In life,
you as a company.
Whether it's a book, whether it's a food product, whether it's selling in retail, you need to make people feel something. Today's world of attention is really hard to get attention. And even with the internet, even with social media where the platforms can reach anywhere, people are bombarded with information. They're bombarded with conformity levels we just talked about. So the moment you stand out and you be yourself, you be on average, whether it's an algorithm or not, you're going to get people's radars of attention to be like, whoa, what is this? Then you can communicate with them.
And Carl, I feel that the worm is turning, so to speak, because I feel like
hence the flip.
Hence the flip, right?
Is that the name of the book?
Yeah, it's the flip.
When can we buy it?
I'll hook you up.
Good to know.
I feel like anybody in their basement, including myself, can create any AI slop.
Yep.
The Iranians are particularly good at it these days.
Yes.
I mean, they're doing it. They're setting some records.
They're doing some good Lego movies.
They're doing some good movies, but it feels like at some point authenticity comes back into the discussion, and it reminds me of 20 years ago in the advent of being able to change models, pictures, and magazines, where you could you could Photoshop perfection, and that became the benchmark. And then everybody said, I don't want perfection, I want authenticity. Are you feeling a similar moment now? Because I'm very concerned about the risk of AI. I mean, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about it?
I think our default is already we don't believe it, right? So our first reaction, whatever we say, well, it's probably AI.
Well, and then I think of it in Jake's and MDS is like, they're doing. If you don't know them, they're like, you're doing such great work. Hey, that's all just AI. I'm not even sure that's real. I mean, it's a funny risk to state, but 2 years ago we wouldn't have been talking about that. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, and that's why the flip is so important, because the idea is, the first book was The Great Acceleration, how the pandemic sort of pushed forward all the digital transformation. Sure. The second one was Blind Spot, how these LLMs caught us off guard, and we didn't really know how or what to do with them. When I was in Vietnam, actually, back then when it launched, and this story after story of this thing's freaking us out. And now it's the idea, okay, this is all going on. It's not slowing down. We thought the Great Acceleration was the ultimate speed master, and we're realizing now, we're looking back at 2020, it's kind of quaint how
things move kind of slow.
How slow that was now. And we're like, okay, but how do we take back agency? And you're talking about slop, there's all these other things, and I'm not anti-AI, to the contrary. It's just I don't think AI is a differentiator. I think it's going to be like, well, you're running your business on electricity. Like, do you use electricity to run your machinery? Yes. Does that differentiate?
So you're seeing it as more table stakes and stuff. Now, how do you guys as an organization, like I think of AI from your perspective, a brand's perspective. I want to both chime in on this. One is there's a whole suite of things that's productivity and what you do and what you use it for internally. And then there's how the customers are using it. So how do you think about those two things at MDS? And then, Carl, I'll have you chime in.
So I also love what you said about, it's table stakes. I think having it is like a prereq, and then building on that is critical. And what I mean by that is Midday Squares uses it in our back-end system. So our ops, my brother-in-law is a software engineer. He's building out systems that he couldn't build before quick enough. So it's helping that
supply chain stuff.
All that back-end is really
Demand,
helping.
Forecasting, all that stuff.
And we manufacture ourselves, so it really helps in that sense. But on the consumer side, on the actual front end, we're actually leaning a lot into humanization, again, authenticity. And I'll tell you why. I send 30 videos per day to customers on Instagram or Facebook that have commented or engaged with our brand. I say their name, I look for something interesting that they have on their profile, and I make a video. Sometimes I'll take 2 videos, make a video, and I send it. Oh. Every reaction is, thank you, this is incredible. Mm-hmm. This is why we love you. And they word do love or we're a fan of. And everyone says to me, you can just get the videos made on AI. You don't need to do this. The truth is people feel the difference. Yeah. And that difference is
what's
going to make...
They can see through it now. They can already see through
it. It's going to make what's between good and great. And then last but not least, we're at Seattle right now, and the energy here is great. You know, we were there judging before, and the physicality of humans, it seems like there's a renewed revival. I can't explain it, where I think people are lonely because of this AI, and I'm not anti-AI, I'm actually for AI, but I think this physicality 100%. And being a human in a world of should be humanization is actually standing out again.
I also think it, regardless of what you see on whatever platform, whether you trust it or not, I see you too.
Well, right? I don't know.
I can try. This is
I don't
real,
know if
right?
you should be trusting me so much. But that's a different story.
I can trust it's you. I don't know if I trust with it. Let's spend a bit of time about what you guys were doing this morning. It was
super exciting, and I think it talks a lot about this industry and how. We got to judge a startup competition for CPG, which kind of is an oxymoron in most cases, where people would have a hard time thinking startup and CPG go together. But just so many exciting brands. We met some super really inspiring, founders that want to make a difference. They all call themselves clean label, which I was wondering, is there such a thing as dirty label? I don't know. Hopefully not. But they're all trying to change the world in their way. I think they all came up to Jake and were like, I'm super inspired by what he's doing, and I think there's a bit of a formula there as well that people are looking to replicate. But it was really cool. We had 2 stages. We had seed, so it was 0 to 3 year old companies, and the one that won that one was actually a non-alcoholic cocktail, but super premium. It was one of the best ones I've ever tasted, actually. Not perfect, but there was, we just saw such a great opportunity in that space, and they're sort of catching a big wave. There was another one that was really interesting in the butter space, believe it or not. How can you innovate on butter? They found a way to do it. Where between the two, it's a bit of a bit tougher to sell butter to people than it is to sell non-alcoholic beverages. And so, but packaging, go to market, branding, they knocked it out of the park.
Jake, what do you look for when you've been there, you lived it?
It's hard.
And you've got this ability to parse out ambition, but also this is realistic and you can get here. This makes some sense. There's a TAM, there's a market fit, all those things. What lens do you put on that?
The lens I was looking for was, how can this business get people's attention more or less? And the reason why I say that is I said at the beginning, if you can't get someone's attention, if no one knows you, if you're not visible, if you're not out there, then they're likely not going to buy you. Exactly. And it doesn't matter how good your service or product is, if that doesn't work, you're missing that piece. 20 years ago, you could have spent the money to force information down. So 100%. If you had big dollars, which people can get access to sometimes, they could force it. Today you can't, because people could block you, unsubscribe, delete, change the channel, never look at you again. So I think that's the lens I was looking, was how big can this get from an attention standpoint, alongside does it have product market fit? Because at the end of the day, if you get attention and no one actually likes your product, it doesn't work either.
Well, are you a believer in... Seth Godin has a principle of the 1,000 fans. You've got to really build a product for your 1,000 advocate, passionate fans, and then the rest will happen. It's truly where Steve Dennis talks about, truly being remarkable. In other words, to be remarked upon. Do you buy into that? I got to find the people who are just intensely passionate about me, and from that, I'll grow.
I think when we started Midday Squares, that's how we did. We hand-delivered product. We filmed everything. We showed everything. We would actually handwrite every message to each customer.
Your mom, right?
My mom and I. But think about it. We went to go meet them at 9 p.m. when we'd hand-deliver. It was a 25-cent sample. We would hand-deliver, and then we'd sit for tea in the house and understand who they were and what they did. And what we noticed the most was people appreciated authenticity. They appreciated people that work hard. They appreciated an underdog story. And then we built around that with a good product. And then after that, it took off very differently.
And you also brought an energy to it, let's be clear.
Energy is it's contagious, right? And it's not replicable. It doesn't matter the AI, energy is not replicable.
So I have this story where I actually guest lectured at Concordia, I don't know if it was 2-3 years ago, and I come down after the guest lecture, and this guy's on the corner of the street with a camera dude and handing out, everybody's just going nuts. I'm like, I knew of you at that point. I wasn't, the first time I was like, this is unreal. And he's
it's a very Jake thing I'm picturing in my head.
But
you're one of a kind, my friend.
And he's stopping and talking like everybody who's taking away. He's like looking him in the eye. I appreciate you. I think that's one of your key things you keep. I appreciate. I see you. I hear you. I appreciate you. There's no like he wasn't just flinging them out like he's like one-on-one, and that energy is it translates. So I don't know if you remember that Concordia.
I do as the corner there. It was fun. But I see you and I hear you is a very important line. And I think that there's a lack of that in the brand world where, even if you scale, like you could still do I see you and I hear you. And you could do it in little ways. It doesn't have to be the perfect, most humanized way, but a little bit of care and love goes a really long way from a customer experience standpoint. And I think that that's also going to be a differentiation factor going forward 100%. In this new world we live in. Because you remember that moment. It was remarkable for him to remember and bring it back years later on a podcast. 100%. You need more of that.
Right. I want to end on maybe a pragmatic line of questions for a couple of minutes. I want to talk about retail media. You got me thinking about, in the years past, you'd push out a lot of media, but now, you've got big retailers that you sell into that have that are themselves retail media properties. Their value is, first-party data. I'm going to communicate the media right where it's at. How does MDS think about it? Is that something you invest in?
We just started investing in it, in three different parts. So we invest in the retailers itself that has their own media, the data, the stuff like that, a lot of the digital approach that they have, the loyalty programs. Second thing we do is we started investing in Instacart. We figured out how to do great storytelling that works.
They're a media platform, almost more than a delivery platform now, right?
That's what they are. But we got trial in a way that we can control that storyline that we wouldn't necessarily get from just being in the back of a store in the fridge, right? And then last but not least is there's a company called Stu Leonard's, okay? There are about 6 stores out in New York, in the state of New York.
I know.
You got to go visit. If you've never been, it is a remarkable place. But they put up TVs, this is wild, next to our products and bunkers, and they asked us to create a story that is hype and high energy. The sales difference between the video being up and not being up was insane.
Wow.
Insane. Remarkably different.
So it can still work. Interesting. Like the media, as much as it's adopting.
Feelings. People feel something.
Which is not the case for 99% of retail media, but it's nice to see that they had the wherewithal to ask you to produce something that's curated for that purpose.
It's curated for that purpose, exactly.
Carl, when's the book come out?
June 15th, I think, is the date we're launching right now.
All right,
I'm going to be in Bangkok, so it'll be a nice place to do it.
This guy travels too much.
Well, listen, please commit that you'll come on the mic and we can talk all about the book when it's launched and make sure...
You've been there since the beginning and supporting. I really, really appreciate it. And I've seen this guy rise as the top podcaster, number one in Canada right now.
Yeah, we're number one in the business podcast.
Can we take a moment to snap for that?
Yeah, thank you.
It's not easy, but it's not easy. And I think people... They see the last, they see now the number one, but how many years did it take you to build this?
5 years. 300 episodes.
Well, more than that, because I introduced you to Steve in 2018.
How long have you been building your brand, basically?
Since 97, 98, even longer, yeah. So, for the Food Professor, 300 episodes and... some criticism of popular...
I think you mean 2017, 2018.
Yeah, I lose my time.
A couple of decades between friends.
I lose track of time.
It's a 15, 20, 30-year overnight success story. And
there you go.
That's what all of our businesses are.
I'm still waiting, man. I'm still waiting.
We're all still waiting to punt.
Jake, what's next for you in the business?
All no bread TBJ. We're going all in. I'm going to grow across North America. And you know what? After that, I don't know what's next after that, but probably Europe.
That's enough. That's about
Southeast Asia. You can come with me on something.
I want to have a family. I want to build a family.
Ah, yeah, you got me. Last time I think we talked together.
Yeah. It was was it Ciel or Wine Association?
The last time on the mic was at the Wine Association, but then it was the Ciel. I met your at that time fiance, so congratulations.
Married
on
now,
that.
I love her. Her name's Melissa. She's great.
Let's hear it from Melissa. Well, I'm heading into 30 years this year, so
not easy.
Listen, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful
coming
thing.
Up on 25 myself. So
fantastic. All right, gentlemen, thanks for joining me on the mic, the Voice Retail Podcast. Real treat to see you both. And
it's such a random thing that kind of just came together.
That's what life spontaneity.
Fantastic.
I love it.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Voice of Retail. If you haven't already, follow on your favorite podcast platform so new episodes will land automatically each week. And be sure and check out my other retail industry media properties, the Remarkable Retail Podcast with Steve Dennis and the Global E-Commerce Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Blanc, Senior Retail Advisor, Keynote Speaker. If you want more content or chat, follow me on LinkedIn. Safe travels, everyone.